this man stopped chasing provision, and instead, provision began chasing him. In a small town, there lived a man named Arga. He was nobody special, not wealthy, nor particularly accomplished. His life was simple, his job ordinary, and his income often felt barely enough. But there was one thing that made people wonder. His face was always calm. Even though, judging from his situation, Arga had many reasons to feel anxious, an uncertain future, ongoing needs, and circumstances that didn't always go as hoped. Yet strangely, he was never in a rush, never panicked, and never complained. One day a friend asked him, "Ga, aren't you afraid? Your life is just average, sometimes even lacking. How can you be so calm?" Arga smiled gently. "I wasn't always like this," he replied. In the past, Arga was constantly restless. Every day he thought about what he didn't have. He woke up with a crowded mind, not enough money, an uncertain future, and others who seemed more successful. He often compared his life to others. Seeing other people's success made his heart feel tight. He worked hard, but the more he chased, the more exhausted he felt. Until one night, in deep exhaustion, he sat alone and asked himself, "Why is it that I've tried so hard, yet I still feel lacking?" That was where everything began to change. Arga realized that it wasn't his life that was lacking, it was his mind that was too full. He had been too focused on what he didn't have, forgetting to see what he already did. From that moment on, he began to practice gratitude. He appreciated the small things he used to ignore. The fresh morning air, a healthy body, time with family, and the chance to keep trying. Slowly, his heart became lighter. He also stopped worrying about other people's judgments. He used to fear being seen as a failure, fear not being recognized, fear not appearing successful, but now he understood that human judgment is never thapped, while God's judgment is never wrong. He no longer felt the need to explain his life to everyone. He chose silence, self-improvement, and sincerity in his intentions. So, Arga also stopped excessively worrying about the future. He still planned and worked, but, he no longer lived in fear. He focused on what he could do today and entrusted the rest to God. Most importantly, he learned to accept the things beyond his control. He no longer wasted energy thinking about the past that couldn't be changed or circumstances outside his power. Instead, he focused on what he could control, his intentions, his efforts, and his closeness to God. As time passed, Arga's life may not have changed drastically. He remained simple, living his days as usual. But one thing changed greatly: his heart. He became calmer, more at peace, and honestly, more sincere. And from that calmness, provision began to feel sufficient. Opportunities came unexpectedly. Paths felt easier, not because his life was free of problems, but because his heart was no longer burdened by unnecessary weight. Then, one day, his friend asked again, "What is your secret, really?" Arga smiled and said, "I'm no longer busy chasing provision like before. I just fixed the way I think. I stopped thinking about the things that were actually pushing provision away from me." He paused, then continued, "And it turns out, it wasn't my provision that was lacking. It was my mind that was too full." In the end, we begin to understand that life is not only about how fast we run, but about how calm our hearts are as we move forward. It's not only about what we chase, but also about what we let go of in our minds. If today life feels tight, perhaps it's not because our provision is lacking. Perhaps it's because we're thinking about too many things. So, really, learn to let go. Let go of excessive worry. Let go of the need to always be understood by others. Let go of fears that may never even happen. Replace them with gratitude, patience, trust, and faith in God. Because when the heart becomes light, the mind becomes clear, and the soul returns to rely on Him. That is where the doors of provision begin to open in ways we may never expect, but always in the best way, according to His will.